This is Brock Yorty with the Driller Newscast, episode 108. I am in Giersbeek, Netherlands. It is 27 degrees outside. That's, what temperature is that, 77?
Yeah, 77, 80 Fahrenheit.
I have Hugo Eigelkamp with me. He is driving his Jeep. And welcome to the Newscast. I hope you enjoy the interview with Stuart Smith. And we'll be back next week with some great footage from the Netherlands and Belgium. Good morning. Welcome to episode 108 of the Driller Newscast, a weekly update on the news and stories impacting the construction, the drilling, and water industry. I'm your host, Brock Yorty, and I am standing in Giersbeek, Netherlands. It's 75 degrees. It's gorgeous, and everybody's out and enjoying the day. A week ago was King's Day. It is great to be out here learning and innovating with great European drilling experts and innovators. And we're going to see more of that today in the future with Stuart Smith as we talk about how we can do better in the water industry for the global water crisis and across by collaborating with great companies. Today's the first day, May 6th, of the construction industry national safety stand down for falls awareness. And so that is our safety challenge. Make sure you get your tailgate talks out there. We get our people aware of what's going on. And as I look at these statistics here, and we're live, so I don't have my teleprompter like I usually do, 21% of all deaths for US workers comes from the construction industry. And I want you to think about that. We're only 8 million of 162 million Americans that work every day. The death rate in construction is 9.4 per 100,000. That is unacceptable. And 35% of those fatalities are falls. So what is your fall arrest system? What are you doing? What are your expectations? How are we going to make sure our people stay safe? And that goes to working on the side of rigs, to anytime we got to work at heights, our ladders, our fall arrests. These are all very important to us. The rest of the week, I'm going to be working in Belgium, in Bruges, and across, checking out some great geothermal projects. And I'll let you see all those next on episode 109. So I hope you enjoy our interview with Stuart Smith. You know, this is a Driller Newscast first. I have an exclusive with a very busy man as he drives a Jeep. This is not dangerous at all. Anything else you'd like to say to the industry?
Yeah, I think we're in the beautiful industry. Drilling is the best thing out there. It's always a challenge, and the beautiful part is that Mother Earth will always have a challenge for us somewhere, so that's cool. And so yeah, no guys, keep drilling, keep doing it. We're doing a good job, thanks.
What I think's really cool is if I go back like 85 years, my grandfather was probably driving around in a Jeep around this time, an American Jeep, helping out, making things better for the world. We're at a point in civilization where we have great communication. We have wonderful ways of advocating and educating. And to circle back to that Mr. Beast, you know, the 100 wells, you know, it was, you and I had a great discussion about it, but, you know, as I watched across social media and LinkedIn and, you know, some other publications coming out, there was a big, you know, attack on how dare, you know, a massive social media influencer go and do this. And what are you doing? And, you know, we see this in so many different ways, water wells being drilled in Haiti. And it's like, well, wait a minute, why are they using this rig and this technology? And it's like, the best available tool is the one that, or the best tool is the most available tool we have, you know, and you see somebody that's got influence with, you know, a third of the globe deciding to paint a picture and show, and sure, we get to see the video of him hitting the air and watching the water surge out, but from a recruitment standpoint or humanitarian standpoint or even a spiritual standpoint, the reason I'm in water well drilling is because that moment that you get to make water come out of the ground, like, is the closest you
Mhm.
can be to helping Mother Earth or being, spirit. It's spiritual to me, and so
Oh, it is, yes, it is, it's been spiritual ever since I really got involved with it, way back in the day, as I realized, gosh, I want to do this. I want to be around all this stuff. I want water to pour out of the ground, and I still, that's one of the best experiences is seeing good water coming out of the ground. Over there is kind of amplified in the sense that both the risk and the risk and benefit side of it is that when you're drilling this well, you look over there and there's 50 women sitting there with jugs waiting for that water. And like, there's no pressure here, is there? To succeed, we tell them, like, we don't know whether it's going to work or not. We think it's going to work, but they sit there with their hope. And, uh, then the other side of that, if you read on in water development generally, is that there's so many water points that have been put in that have failed. There's a very high failure rate, and they're still sorting out why, but it's usually because they put a hand pump on it, and the hand pump has galvanized pipe down into a corrosive water that's 70 degrees Fahrenheit and full of bacteria, which we all know that. Like, duh, like, why is this corroding? We don't know. I say, I know why it's corroding, and we don't do that. And why do you put in a hand pump if you know, when you could put in a submersible pump with a solar on it so that grandma can go out there and just turn on the tap instead of doing this. So there's a lot to do on the downstream and ongoing side of it, that literally asset management and maintenance is crucial. And a lot of the hand pumps they put in over there is, the designs haven't advanced since 1965 or something, so like, I always wonder, like, why do you have a chain at the top of 50 meters of rod? Like, what, you and I both know, like, what, nothing's going to happen to that, so I don't know, things of that nature.
so that leads me into my last question. Um, you have a platform here, and we've even called out Mr. Beast, and I've gotten to know uh, a partial production component of those folks, and they're great. But if you had a call to action right now, and for Tanzania or other water initiatives you're seeing, what would it be? What could we be doing better here in the States, or what could we be doing better, globally to help the water crisis in Africa?
Well, first of all, I think that one thing to understand is that, uh, well, I'm trying to think, everybody wants to just jump in and do it, for one thing. And one is that you're probably the first thing to do is find out, well, what's going on here? What's the hydrogeology? What's the social setting? What are the capacities? I see this maybe more in Central America than elsewhere, that people, because it's accessible to the States, is that they'll just come ramming in there and bring a rig and go to work, when maybe down the road a ways is a perfectly capable groundwater contractor, a driller that knows what to do, but maybe has a rickety rig. Could you come alongside the person who knows the hydrogeology and knows the language and the places and make it so? That's the approach that we took. I'm the only Mzungu in groundwater Tanzania. Everybody else is Tanzanian. So we employ drillers, helpers, geophysics people. Everybody is right there in the country. I can't talk to most of them because my Swahili is limited to where's the bathroom and where's the beer, and and hello and goodbye. So but that's, and then my business partner Tant is the guy that strides across both worlds. He studied here at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and he can whip from English to Swahili to Kima in
Right.
rather quickly. And that's how you sort of get things done instead of like coming in and taking over like neo-colonial people. You work alongside people that are there and figure out what they need. So the other thing I think is we need to have more influence with the international development sphere. It's to get them to understand this is what works, this is not what works. These are the things we've learned over 150, 200 years, stuff like that, instead of recreating a system from scratch through some process. I talked to another fellow driller in Nigeria just recently that I've connected with quite a bit. And we joke about people that go to conferences and stuff, but we are at the on the ground doing stuff. So that's where it gets done.
It's
I don't know.
tough. Uh,
It would take a long time to really answer your question.
I know I gave you a big one. It's tough because right now, from a global initiative, obviously the water crisis is up there, but also greenhouse gas and becoming net zero, decarbing, so geothermal, solar, and wind. And so now we have like Godzilla, who is the renewable energy, and we have King Kong, and it's what is the priority. And now we have Mothra, or whatever other one you want to call, being PFAS. And as we
Mhm.
look at a global perspective of PFAS, the World Health Organization came out and said, listen, if it's a choice between 4 and 10 parts per million, mind you, parts per trillion, mind you, a year ago they had said no PFAS consumption was healthy, but now they've come back and said we see the standards the EPA is going with, these other pieces, and we see the EPA in Africa and other places right now influencing good policy and whatnot. But at the same time, the World Health Organization comes out and says, listen, if it's a choice between somebody consuming a over the limit PFAS water that is clean and any other way, we need people being hydrated versus, the adverse effects of all the rest. And so our universe is changing again much faster than I would have thought.
Yeah. On the latter one, I think, if you look at internationally, say rural water in general, I only know one place in particular, but I think it probably, if you look at PFAS and things like that, it's probably more in the materials that we have. And that's why I'm keen on finding better materials in some cases, like just to make sure that there's been quality control to keep stuff out that shouldn't be there, that we aren't just gradually leaking PFAS into a system because of a tape or a wire covering or something like that. It's probably not there in the environment. Nobody's spraying fire foam anywhere nearby or much of anything like that. It's not like here, where we're just saturated with it already. What to say about that? No Air Force base nearby, and it really is more like, yeah, let's get these people some clean, reasonably bacteria-free water, and hopefully without fluoride and radionuclides in it, and that's a win right there. That's where a lot of people are. It's sort of this worrying about PFAS is kind of a luxury we have in the West and the North. But still, it's kind of thing that, like places like Tanzania need to be thinking about and they are, but think about their groundwater management, so they don't become the Punjab, where everything's being drilled and the water levels go into the basement. That's those are key things that places like this or Malawi or Niger or any place else has to come up with.
That's great.
And we have to think about our own backyards. Let's get our own selves right before we preach to somebody else, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that tags on. I guess I'm going to have one last question now. From a unregulated standpoint of materials, do we see a lot of materials from other places that are no longer allowed to be used? Are we seeing them being used as, well completion materials in Africa or in Tanzania?
Well, in Africa in general, it's a highly unregulated environment. Tanzania may be actually atypical in that they're rather strict on imports and stuff like that. They do have standards and such like that, but that's a problem. There's a worldwide problem of stainless steel quality. A container of screens comes in, it says it's stainless steel. Well, is it or not? From our friends in Asia, and it's something that they have to get, as governments, as regulatory bodies need to be focused on. What is our quality control? Does it, is there a paper trail that says it meets ISO whatever it is, and so that they know they're putting in something that isn't just going to corrode away or contaminate somebody. And so we're asking an awful lot of these places, and they get a lot of pressure from people that want to import stuff in it, and local traders that want to make money making those transactions between those people and their domestic people. And it's hard. I don't know how we resolve that. I'm trying to resolve the problem right in front of me. Just getting wells in the ground and doing a good job, so.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest piece, is being able to have best practices and quality constructed wells that, progress us. Any last thoughts on help, or you looking for another generation to carry the torch over in groundwater in Tanzania? Are you going to do this forever? What are you doing?
Well, I won't do it forever, but my partner there is a generation younger than me, and he and his lovely wife have 3 children that crawl over the equipment. So we're hoping to eventually make it a family affair there as far as the management goes. But we've realized it's going to become big. We already have 20 people in some aspect or another of it, and if we have to expand into other aspects of the work, it's going to become a kind of a sizable operation. And in market there, again, it's kind of like, it's sort of like a few decades back here when there wasn't much regulation of drillers. Our main competition, it really is those guys that sit at the fuel station and will come out and drill for enough shillings for fuel and PVC pipe, and they corkscrew a hole in the ground and don't fill out the paperwork. That's our constant struggle, as far as because they drill a lot cheaper than we do. We realize what our costs are and conduct our maintenance, and we don't ruin our rigs. I can't afford to buy another rig, so we're not maintaining these. We're not letting these run into the ground. And So it's an it's an interesting exercise. I tell you, I didn't mean to be a water well contractor in my 60s. You know, I tried to avoid that for decades. I see how expensive and intense that is. So, but here we are.
Well, you're doing good, and it's we need more professionals like you focusing outside of the US and helping
Yeah,
influence all that we've learned.
it's a big world. I see too much interest in, too much navel gazing in the United States, and it's the same in the industry as it is in general in society. Like we're we're a small part of the population of the world, and like it's the States is a big place and there's a lot going on, but um, we can do more, but also we don't other people are whip smart and capable, and like I said with PRD with the drilling rigs, they're eating your lunch in the rest of the world because they make what the customer needs there. And so it's a collaborative exercise, and we can be part of that.
That's a great place to wrap up. We do need more collaboration, and NGWA says it the best that we're better together.
Yes, that's precise. That's a really good sentiment to use going forward in any exercise like this. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today. It's been great. I love it when I get a chance to learn and you share some knowledge with us and all of our viewers and listeners.
Yeah. Yeah. All my wisdom learned through experimentation. Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you.
All right. Good talking to you.
Thank you for joining us for episode 108 of the Driller Newscast. Thank you again, Stuart Smith, for coming on, talking about drilling around the world. More importantly, drilling in Tanzania, as I pick on him all too often about drilling around the world. He's like, Brock, I just drill in Tanzania. Our influence on clean water and collaboration to get sanitation and water around the world is very important. And huge shout out to Mr. Beast for all that they have done, as that team is not just one man, but a huge, great collaborative group of wonderful people. Keep doing great work. Who cares about the haters? Check out thedriller.com. And next week, 109, we'll jump back into all the important stories as I get back from the Netherlands and Belgium. Be safe. This is National Fall Safety Week, May 6th through the 10th for the construction industry. 26% of all fatalities in construction are falls. It's a big deal. Make sure you have good processes. Go on the OSHA website, check out all of the tailgate talks and everything that's there. Go out, be productive, have a safe and wonderful week.